The job market is wide open, but that doesn't make it any easier for Oakland County and Metro Detroit residents, as well as other Michiganders, to find the right place to call their future work home or even to satisfy their needs for covering their necessities with the jobs that they do have. Helping them out are the friendly people and from organizations such as Gusher Human Services. And joining us now from Gusher is Phyllis Skripsick, licensed professional counselor and career counselor as well. Phyllis, appreciate you joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So first off, if you can give us a little bit of background information, one of the programs that you work with at Gusher Human Services is their Work Intervention Network, otherwise known as WIN. Can you tell us about WIN and some of the services that it provides to residents of Oakland County and of the Metro Detroit area?
Yeah, sure. So when the pandemic actually happened, a group of 10 academic individuals got together, whether it be social workers or psychologists, career professionals, and they knew that people were going to need help during this time with employment. And we also know that when people are more isolated, they tend not to get jobs as opposed to people that have the actual support. And so that's what we're going to be doing. So it's a networking kind of program where participants will be able to network. We're going to be talking about building and sustaining relationships. We're going to talk about self-esteem, self-worth, whether it be guilt, shame, because we know that when people are out of jobs, that comes along with it. In fact, when people, introduce themselves the first time, they always ask, what do you do for a living? And so, if we can kind of negate that and get people to where they're really positive about their answers, then they feel much better about themselves.
These free support classes for unemployed Metro Detroiters begin on August 15th through Gusher Human Services. That's August 15th. Is when these begin, and they're known as the Work Intervention Network, virtual workshops to help these unemployed and underemployed Metro Detroiters. And so, Phyllis, as they are dealing with their work situation, maybe they're trying to find a new job or they're settling into a new job, or maybe that new job is just something that's paying some of the bills, but maybe not enough. In that case, they're underemployed. What are some of these common issues that they do run into, both emotionally and, of course, on the labor side of things, as they're looking for more consistent work that your organization and intervention programs such as WIN are hoping to help alleviate?
Yeah, looking for a job is a job. And it takes a lot of strength to get through that. And I think, especially if you've been out of the market for some time, people, are uncertain of how to actually interview. They're uncertain of what skills that they have, and maybe just even their confidence. And just talking about that and helping them through that process. At the end, we'll be talking about job search techniques. And each year, the interviewing process gets different. And so it's how to negate that and think outside the box and think on your feet and how to actually go through and look for employment. So those are things we're going to be covering.
Just how important is it as someone's looking for a job or as someone's looking to make a transition in their career for a variety of different reasons? Just how important is it to have that baseline of emotional resilience to be able to deal with that process? Because for some, they'll be able to find a job relatively quickly. For others, they may experience a lot of rejection or just not find that they're getting accepted to the right positions, and that can be tough.
Yeah, and that rejection is hard. And I always tell people when I work with clients is that even if you get a no, that's okay, because you only need one yes, and to keep going forward and not to give up. And then maybe it is along the way that you learn, to do things a little bit differently so that you have an opportunity of getting hired. But it can be very difficult. It can be very daunting. And so it's really important to have support people in your corner to give you courage, to maybe give you some tips. And that's kind of what we do here at Gusher.
Gusher Human Services can be found at jvshumanservices.org. Of course, it is a new organization combined from JVS and Kadima. You can find them at jvshumanservices.org. For more information on the Work Intervention Network, or WIN, these courses begin virtually on August 15th. August 15th, if you just go to jvshumanservices.org. You can learn more information on how you can get involved and maybe take some of these lessons yourself if you are struggling currently in finding a new job. So this really takes the element of those other virtual classes and virtual seminars that Gesher does to help people find jobs, but takes into account what's often underlooked, and that is the mental health side of things, because that does play in a big role when somebody is not uh, in necessarily the greatest headspace, or they're starting to get down on themselves because their job search isn't going as well as maybe they anticipated. That can really affect them as they continue their job search.
Absolutely, it can. In fact, I mean, we see this even in career counseling that the mental health issues have gone up since COVID. We've all been through so much, and those mental health components are very, very important. And we also know that when people are unemployed, those mental health issues go up even more so. And then we have over 70,000 thoughts a day in our head. And when you're sitting idle or you don't have things to fill your day, then, the negative chatter continues.
These classes begin August 15th on Mondays and Wednesdays, 1 p.m. to 2:30. They run through August 31st. jvshumanservices.org for more information. That's jvshumanservices.org. Phyllis, for those that may not be able to attend at that time, maybe they have other work, or they figure that it's probably a better use of their time in that moment of the day when they're most lucid or they're wide awake, to be working on their applications, working on their resumes. Are they able to access these programs on demand, or are these something that you have to participate in live?
You have to participate live. I will be
Okay.
offering another session in January 2023. So, but there's other services here at Gesher that we can help them out with as well, whether it be resume writing, whether it be mock interviews, getting a cover letter together. We can actually help with that as well.
So this is a very complicated situation for people to work through, because there's a lot that factors into it. It's the job search element of it, which for every person is going to have different factors that are involved, different constraints that are involved. But then there's also the mental health side of it too, and both of those things so often don't coincide. Mental health and strengthening your mental health, but also focusing on your career. Those are two things that often can clash. So as you're developing this program, how are you taking that into account? And then beyond that, helping the people as you're teaching them these concepts to mix the two together in a way that's productive for them.
Well, so I come with the concept of that a lot of people think life is here and job and career is here, but it's not here. And during the midst of COVID, we've seen it even more so. And so I go from that perspective. And what's going to affect one will affect the other. You can't help but it to affect the other. So to know that and be aware of that, and to be aware of what your own emotions are. Maybe it is that you're really scared to interview. So just knowing that is the first step, and to know how to rectify that and practice, and so that you can get better and that you can do really well during an interview.
More information can be found on the Work Intervention Network by visiting jvshumanservices.org. jvshumanservices.org. You scroll down on the left side of the page under what's coming up and go to August 15th. You'll find more information as well as ways to register for this program. It runs August 15th through the 31st, Mondays and Wednesdays every week, 1 p.m. until 2:30. Again, that's jvshumanservices.org. Joining us on the Oakland County Megacast is Phyllis Skripczyk, a licensed professional counselor and a career counselor with Gesher Human Services, which is a combination now of JVS Human Services as well as Kadima, helping people throughout the Metro Detroit area in their job searches, in their careers, and also on the mental health side as well. So this is a couple weeks worth of courses. Where do you begin with this? Because there's so much to go over, and getting that foundation in, I would imagine, with those that are going to be in these seminars, it's going to be really important, to boost their learning experience over these 16 days, the 16-day period from the 15th to the 31st, but also to kind of give them a foundation to grow those other concepts as they continue to look for work too.
Yeah. And so the first, when they meet, they're going to be actually networking with one-on-one. Outside of the group, they'll be buddied up so they can continue to network. And our whole mission is that once the program's done, they still have a networking support system put in place. And then we're also going to be working on mindfulness and self-care during this time. That's really going to be vitally important part of this program. And a lot of times people don't take care of themselves, and they might put that on the back burner. And so I think it's really important to do that in the midst of looking for a job, because looking for a job is a job.
especially in the times that we're in right now with the
Yeah.
economic situation. The job market is still relatively open. There still are a lot of jobs that are available in a number of different sectors, and that's something to be confident about as you're entering the job market. But there's some uncertainty with that too. And as you're teaching this class, knowing that the economic situation that we're in the U.S. and that at any time in the near future, with well, depending on the projections and depending on how a few other factors go, we could enter into a recession, and that could very much impact the job market. That's got to also be having a significant impact on people's mindset as they're going into the job market. How are you planning to help people navigate that, or what do you suggest to help people navigate that element of the job market at this time, that uncertainty that's coming with our economy?
I think it's really about doing the research about it and knowing what's coming ahead. But again, we still don't know exactly what's coming ahead.
Yeah.
We didn't know the pandemic was going to happen. And in the midst of the pandemic, a lot of things tragic happened to a lot of people. It's a lot of grief and trauma in the midst of that people have endured. Um, but there's also been really great things that's come out of that. And the one thing is that the shift between employers and employees. And I think right now is a great time to get out into the market, especially if you want to change jobs. I think employers may be open to more of a training kind of a situation more than they ever have. But going forward, maybe right now, if you're not in the job market, maybe right now is to learn some new skills. And so that you can get back into the market and do very well in that.
We're joined by Phyllis Skripsick, a licensed professional counselor and career counselor with Gusher Human Services, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. You can find more information on the Work Intervention Network, or WIN, virtual workshops by visiting jvshumanservices.org. jvshumanservices.org, those classes, Mondays and Wednesdays, 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m., beginning August 15th, concluding on August 31st. Again, jvshumanservices.org for more information. And you mentioned this at the beginning of our interview, Phyllis, that so many people are a little bit bashful, a little bit shy, maybe even embarrassed when they are underemployed or when they're unemployed and they're maybe meeting some new people or networking, and they're asking, well, what do you do for a living, or where do you work? And maybe they're underemployed, maybe they're unemployed, they don't have a job at the moment, and they're looking, and there's a little bit of a stigma behind introducing yourself as someone that is unemployed or is currently not in a job situation. That can affect the way that someone thinks of themselves too, as they're introducing themselves, or they're maybe not introducing themselves with as much confidence to somebody because of their work situation. What suggestions do you have for people that are currently in that situation now, in terms of how they introduce themselves to other people, but also because that impacts how they really are introducing themselves to themselves?
Absolutely. So one thing that they can do is actually focus on what they're doing to prepare to get back into the market. So if they're currently taking classes, they could highlight that. If they're actually, doing a lot of networking, they can highlight that too and say, by the way, I want you to know that I'm networking. And if you know of anybody, please let me know. So it's really kind of, I wouldn't say doing a dance around it, but like really highlighting the positives that you're doing in the midst while you are unemployed. And that way they can walk away and feel really good about what they are doing. It's making that initial step to get back into the market.
More information can be found on jvshumanservices.org. Again, if you are in a situation where you are unemployed or you're underemployed, you're trying to make a transition in your career, and things maybe aren't going as smoothly as you thought they would go, or maybe you're a little less than confident in yourself as you continue through this process, this is a great opportunity for you in Metro Detroit to take some of these classes, reset your mindset in terms of your job outlook, network with some people as well, and learn from experts out in the community, I guess, for human services. This is their Work Intervention Network. August 15th through August 31st, the classes are middays on Monday and Wednesday, 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m., Monday and Wednesday. And again, jvshumanservices.org is where you'll find more information. You just scroll down the left side of the page under what's coming up and click on Read More under Work Intervention Network Program, and you can register. You can also inquire more by emailing Phyllis at pscriptsick@jvshumanservices.org. Phyllis, another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else at this time that those that are unemployed or underemployed looking to make a transition should be keeping in mind as they're working through the job market, as they're navigating their current situation and trying to put their best foot forward, or any other information about the Work Intervention Network that we haven't discussed today?
One thing for the individuals looking to get back into the market is to really know your worth. right? To know your worth, what you can provide to an employer, what you're passionate about, and sell that and continue to network. I mean, every industry has a revolving door. And so if you know people in industry, maybe network even on LinkedIn, or if you know people that work in the agency that you want to work at, I would network with them. That's the number one way of getting a job is networking.
Well, Phyllis, we appreciate your time. Thanks for your insight and advice.
Thank
And
you.
for more of that, people can get it at jvshumanservices.org. Appreciate it.
Thank you.